What's going on, Houston, Texas? Welcome to Season 8, Episode 122 of Talking Throws Podcast, Texas Out. I'm Coach Jason.
And I'm Coach Janelle.
And we are throws coaches with the Throwing Factory. You can go to the website, thethrowingfactory.com, to check out our bios. Also on that site, you will find links at the bottom of the homepage for Fiber Sports, for Four Throws. We also work with Michelle Gregovich, a sports psychologist that can help any athlete maybe overcome some mental hurdles in a competitive situation. Also, we have a shopping page on there as well, so maybe go check out some cool merchandise, and then links exactly for the podcast as well. We'd like to thank our sponsors for Season 8. Texas Track and Field Coach Association. That website is ttfca.org. Anything you want to know in track and field in the state of Texas, that's the site to go to. I know already meets have been started posting for 2025. So if you're a coach looking to schedule something out that far in advance, go to that website and get stuff on the books. Fourthrows.com. Quality implements price right. Use the code TalkingThrows10 to get 10% off. If you go to the site now, it's been remodeled. And so they actually have little reports and kind of newsletters of how to choose the right javelin, how to choose the right discus. So they're also doing an educational aspect of that. So that's fourthrows.com. Fiber Sports Discus, ran by Mr. Bruce Caldwell. You can purchase a Fiber Sports Discus directly from Bruce, or if you would prefer, go to fourthrows.com and use that code TalkingThrows10 to get that 10% off. Also, then if you're looking for a good timing system at a meet, NTX Timing, that's ran by Carl Hornback and his crew. They do a good job of organizing a meet, getting those results posted, heat sheets, anything you need to run a meet efficiently. NTX Timing is the people to do that. So while you're coaching the athletes, let them run the meets for you. And that website to reach out to them is ntxtiming.com. Big Frog, Chicagoville, they do our embroidering, lifting DFW, a mobile lifting station. If you're actually wanting to purchase a trailer, reach out to me. It's a good investment. If you're training some athletes and you don't have the weight room or anything you need, you can put that in the parking lot, in a park, or in a driveway, and get some work done, what you need to do. And then remind everybody too about our YouTube channel. And then on the podcast, just give us a thumbs up, give us a review. We're on all platforms, so the more support we get, the better content that we can provide y'all. But if we're doing something you don't like, tell us and we'll change it. So
or if you know people that have ties to Texas, have great stories about throwing,
yes,
keep them on.
For sure. Today's guest has a PR in the hammer of 175.5. This past year, 2024, he was the SWAC champion in the hammer. In that same meet, he got 4th in the discus and 9th in the shot put. He has an indoor weight PR of 57.2. He is currently throwing for Texas Southern University. Prior to that, he spent a year at Jackson State. He hails from the state of Arizona. He was a high school football player that kind of converted to throwing his senior year, where he got 2nd in the state in shot put and found his way to Jackson State. And now he's thriving at Texas Southern with a lot of goals and a good head on his shoulders. Please welcome to episode 122, Jalen Walker.
That's funny.
Well, man, thanks so much for being on.
Yes, sir. No. Yeah. So we'll range back to high school. I started out here. Born and raised in Tempe. Phoenix, Arizona. Went to school in Tempe, Arizona at Corona del Sol High School. That was my first year deciding to do the throwing parts in track. I ran track. I was on the 4x1 team, the 100, and then they're like, you know what, you're kind of strong. I want to try you in the shot put. And I said, yes, sir, I'm good for it. I've always been pushed to try to do track outside of football because I was a big football athlete in high school. So I was always pushed to do track. And so I've had a good grip of coaches that, outside of football that have pushed me for track. And yeah, I went to high school at Corona del Sol, did throwing for a year, ended up finishing my high school career at 53.
Oh, wow.
53.7, which placed 2nd in the state meet and conference.
Was that a glide? Was that a glide or rotation?
It was a rotation, so I was taught the rotation my first time throwing.
Is it
Yeah, my
something
Oh,
you
first.
didn't throw in middle school or anything? Just high
No, no
school,
middle
they just
school.
found you and said, "Hey, come throw this."
oh.
Yep,
Wow.
Who was
yep.
the coach? Was a coach that kind of said, "Okay, we're gonna let you just rotation"?
Yeah, yeah. So Scott Sharp, he went to University of Arizona back in the day. I'm not sure what year he graduated, but he was a big influence for me. I mean, he definitely when I was down about shot put, because that was the event that they wanted me to do. Discus, I was naturally good in it, but shot put, when I would get down, he would just be like, you know what, like I see something in you, like I really do see something, and you just gotta buy into it yourself. So like, being with somebody who's been where I wanted to go at that point it made me buy in more, and it made me want to be a better athlete. Yeah,
Wow, wow.
yeah.
So did you kind of throw with him like after football practice, or kind of during the fall season to get you ready for that senior year and that run at that state meet?
So nah, during the season I just did football stuff. I was strictly football until track season came around, and then when track season came around, I seen him probably like a month before my first meet.
Oh
In
wow.
my first meet I went 50.
Oh wow.
50 feet in the rotation, and so that's when it surprised me. Like I was like, wow, maybe this is something I'm good at, like that I can do. So that was a pretty cool experience, and then we just worked. Like I'm a hard worker, and once I figured out that this was something that I could do, I really bought into like the process. And then he started working with me. I went 53 at state, like I said, got second. Then after the season, I had received that offer from Jackson State, but I didn't feel like I was like seasoned enough.
Oh
Like
really?
I didn't feel like I had enough what you call it, like skill to be at that level. So I was like, you know what, maybe I should practice a little bit more. So I went on my own, started practicing throughout a couple unattached meets under my club coach, which is Don Abrams. And he's the
Okay.
one who got me the offer to Jackson State when I said, you know what, maybe I'm gonna go out and branch and try to get better in this. He got me the offer at Jackson State, and that's when I said, you know what, I'm gonna buy into it, and this is what I'm
So
gonna do.
so just on as a multi-sport athlete, backing up real quick, what positions you play in football in high school?
I played running back and linebacker.
Running back and linebacker. Did
Yeah.
you have any offers for football?
Yeah, I had a couple I had one Division 1 offer, and it slowly faded away because I transferred my senior season to Coronadale. So it slowly faded away. I had Shippensburg in Pennsylvania, which was
Okay.
very far from home, like didn't really expect it. Then I had originally was going to sign with junior college to play junior college football to
Uh-huh.
broaden my my experience in that too. But CSU Pueblo, a bunch of NAIA schools, and I just felt like at that time when football was over that I wanted to I was gonna sign to the junior college, and I got convinced by coaches that they feel like if I just try certain stuff that I'll have another route, like that
Oh
football
wow.
may not be my route.
Oh wow.
Ah.
So
Yeah.
how what's the connection and how did you cross paths with Coach Abrams, your summer club team?
Okay, cool. So I have my dad is a teacher actually, so they work in the same district as him. He's very notorious for getting people out. Everybody in the state of Arizona knows Don Abrams. I come out there. He trains my little sister. My little sister also runs for his club team. So I'm
Okay.
like, you know what? He has a club team. I need to get into some meets. I go out there with him. I say, hey, Coach Don. I've seen him multiple times, but I like always for just like training purposes or for just to go watch my sister practice. But when I went out there, I told him that I want to throw, and he was like, okay, well, what's your numbers? I'm gonna just start sending stuff out. So he sent it out. Which was actually cool because Davion Center, who won our conference meet, he's also from South Phoenix, about 2 blocks, like a couple blocks away from me. He stays, and he went to Jackson State, so he reached out there, and then they got me the offer there, which was pretty cool.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So you go from Arizona to
Hmm.
Mississippi basically on like a totally different mindset for throwing and stuff.
Right.
Kind of what was your first impression of being a freshman on college? But then also very important question, have you like that 16-pound shot put's heavy, dude. Like,
Yeah.
what was that adjustment like that freshman year? And did you train with it prior to going there?
Yeah, so I trained a little bit in the summer. The process, like going into my freshman year, it was a little bit tough just because in the city of Jackson, there was a lot going on at the time. You know, like the city pipelines had busted.
Oh
The water
no.
would be the water would be brown. We would have like a lot of things going on. You know, so besides just track and school, every day I was fighting situations. You know, we had got dismissed from school for a whole 2 weeks or a week, I believe, because of the water situation. So you know, it's just a lot of back and forth on my parents and me. You know, it's not cheap to fly to Jackson. They're
No.
very expensive tickets because you had to stop somewhere. There's no straight throughs to Jackson. It's a, you know, it's a hard place to get to, and then it's like once you're there, it's a tough place to be at. You know, I went in there with the mindset of trying it, and it was tough. You know, it was tough. So when I was over there, it was more like for me like a grind and like a hustle to try to better myself, so I can go somewhere where I feel like, you know, I'll be better. You know, I'll have more resources and more things. But
Gotcha.
yeah,
So in your freshman year at Jackson State, man, you picked up the weight in the hammer. So,
yeah.
so was there a coach that even dealing with the diversity of your surroundings and lack of water and the situation with school, man, you still were kind of grinding a little bit from what your bio says.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So Coach Country, he was a decent coach. I enjoyed Coach Country. He taught me a lot of things when I was at Jackson State. He's a good guy. But most of the times when I was over there, it was more you learn a lot more from your teammates than you ever will your coach, and
Oh,
especially the older ones, in my opinion, because I feel like, you know, your coach watches every rep, but you talk to your teammates about every rep and what felt awkward, you know, or what felt
yeah.
different. And they'll be, oh yeah, I noticed that. So it's more like I was though when I was at Jackson State, I was with Davion, like I had said,
Oh,
Davion
okay.
Center. So I was throwing with him, and he was a big help. And then we also that year when I was at Jackson had got a transfer from the University of Houston. His name was Johnny Howe. So I had
Yeah.
pretty solid pretty solid older dudes, you know, ahead of me, and it really that sharpened me because I feel like every week it was a grind to just try to beat one of them out or beat this, and it really like it was tough. You know, it's tough with everything going outside. It really felt like. If I'm being honest, it felt like a junior college. Like it felt like
Yeah.
I had to do more. I was having to always do more, and I enjoyed it. I still found some time to enjoy the moment. You know, I love Jackson. It was a good place. You know, there's a lot of things that went wrong, but I built some very strong friendships and some very strong branches out there. So
So you're a very good accomplished hammer thrower now, but
right
you had to learn that at Jackson State. So what is that transformation like of like the first? Because I'm guessing you didn't throw it in Phoenix, like you probably
nah.
never even touched the hammer. So
Nah.
so did Coach Country say like, hey, like I need you to pick up the hammer? Was it two lines? You fell down or
So
what?
yeah, we started with the weight in the indoors. So like
Okay.
that process was a little bit different. You know, the ball is super heavy. I'm like, gosh, like this is crazy. Like the first time I throw it, I feel like I look like a fool, and I probably did. But like that's the thing. Though, I bought into that feeling. You know, I didn't want to look like a fool, so I went a little bit tougher every day. And like we started off with the just the one turn, a simple one turn,
Yeah.
and once I learned how to release and actually turn and get the ball over my head and do that, we gradually moved to two, then to three hills. And then so when I had got to three hills by indoor conference is when I hit that my PR mark to that time was
Yeah.
16. I hit that mark and I felt like, you know what, I actually like this. You know, as a younger one in the conference, I was sixth in a
Yeah.
conference full of older dudes, and I was the youngest one up there, and I felt like, you know what, maybe outdoor I can have a better outcome. So I really
Yeah.
bought into like just learning the different footwork, and the transition from the weight to the hammer was a little bit like easier for me because I kind of had a more base understanding of
Yeah.
how to do the hammer. Now the hammer was lighter, so I feel like, you know what, maybe I could sling it around a little bit quicker because it's lighter. Obviously I had to learn a couple different techniques, and that's not the case, but when I had first thrown it, my first ever throw, I want to say was 45.
Oh wow. Wow.
44, 44, 45 was my first ever throw, like in my first ever meet, and I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not disappointed with that.
So when you called your parents back in Arizona, it was like, "Hey, I'm throwing this weight and hammer." Did they like, what is that? Are you nailing something with a hammer? Like, did they
Yeah,
know?
pretty much. That's what everybody. I tell them that's what I do. I throw the hammer. What's the hammer? And it's kind of hard to explain. Just a wire on the ball. That's all it is. A wire on the ball.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
that probably shows you what good of athlete you are. Now I'm kind of curious because we deal in Texas with the multi-sport athletes, and football's king, and
Right.
everybody wants to be that D1 football player, but not everybody's that D1 football player.
Right.
You feel like a football player helped you in that transition of learning that new movement, whether it was weight or hammer?
Definitely. I feel like just being an athlete helped me with that. And I
Yeah.
would say that quite a lot of coaches I feel like don't push that. Don't push trying different things because I think the track can make you a better football player. But that's just you just have to be a mature and good coach to notice that one sport athlete isn't what you want, because if all they know to do is one thing, then how are they, I just like to dibble and dabble. I wrestled. I did a lot of different things like football, track, wrestling. I even tried the soccer team once, and it just wasn't me, but I tried a lot of stuff,
Oh
and
wow.
that's the thing, just being like energetic and just wanting to learn different things is what helped me the most, like with my track career.
Awesome.
And part of that is, Jalen, you're someone who wasn't afraid to fail, because kids these days are afraid to try stuff because they're afraid to fail. So you're like, I
Right.
tried soccer, I wasn't that good at it. You see it as a next step to being better at what you do, as opposed to, oh my gosh, I suck, I'm going to quit. So that's awesome. You got to be willing to fail at something. So,
Right. Yeah. It's definitely, you gotta be open minded,
yeah.
and that's a big part about like what I do as an athlete is I'm very open minded. I don't care who you are, where you're from. If you have something good to say and I feel like it could align, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna use it because I feel like knowledge is key.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
It's
Okay.
key.
So did you kind of have that mindset getting in the outdoor and all the stuff going on in Jackson State? That
hmm
you were looking to transfer. Did you enter the portal then, or was there a part of you like, I'm gonna stay, and then it was kind of a reactive, I'm gonna go do this?
So I actually entered the portal right after indoor. I
Oh,
prayed about
really?
it. Like I prayed about it all through indoor. It was tough. Like I was having nights where like I was frustrated. I was coming home from practice and the water's brown. Like
Yeah.
how am I gonna shower? Like I just had a long day, and then like the shower or the water is like barely dripping out of the faucet. And you're just like, it was a lot on me. And I'm very big on school. School was getting tough because I felt like just everything. It was hot when we slept because obviously air conditioning units built when they were use water. They use all those types of things.
Yeah.
So it was warm. Like I was just having a hard time there. I prayed, and I talked to my family, and they were like, you know what, like if it's heavy on your heart, and this is what you're being led to do, son, and you got to do is what my people said. They said that's what it is. So it was a big leap of faith. I'm not gonna lie, because those numbers aren't really appealing in every conference.
Yes.
Those are some numbers that it's like, coming out of that year, I threw 50 in the hammer, 16 in the weight, 13.8 in the shot. Like the only one of them that's kind of respectable is maybe the hammer throwing 50, but it's like even throwing 50 is gonna be hard to get some money anywhere. So I took a
Yeah.
huge leap of faith. And
So true.
um
Good.
in that portal there was a lot of different coaches who seen the potential, but
Yeah.
it was just like for me at the time, the biggest thing for me was not having to, putting myself in a better situation financially, because
Yeah.
it's tough, like having to be an athlete and then worry about paying for school after. Like it's tough, so
Yeah.
for me, I
You don't
said
have
I'm gonna
time
put
for
my
a job.
yeah, you don't.
That
You
is your
don't. Even
job.
now, even in the summer, I work a job here back in Phoenix, and I'm just exhausted because I still train. I'm
Yeah.
just exhausted. So I could only see what that would be like, working a job on top of it, of top of like classes. And so that's different. It's a different grind, it's a different hustle, but definitely yeah.
Yeah. What? So in the portal, and just educate us, because high school kids don't really. Is that one of the things where you enter a portal? Is there actually a website that you can go on and see who's like looking for throwers, or is there on the reverse side? Can another college coach or school look at this site and see who's in it? Is there such thing as a website?
Yeah, there's a way. Like I think that coaches get notified when somebody enters the portal, and so
Oh,
they can go
really?
and look on the NCAA portal and be like, oh, like him. So I had a couple of schools like
Okay.
um University of South Carolina Upstate reached out to me from the
Yeah.
portal, and I thought that was cool. I've had like a couple different coaches reach out to me from the portal, but a lot of like that recruiting was solely based on you. It's about you sending them emails because at the end of
Oh,
the day,
really?
like yeah, because at the end of the day, like I could have asked my coach to send the emails, but
Yeah.
isn't that a little awkward? Like
Yeah.
you're an athlete trying to leave this program and you're putting it in the hands of the other coach to determine your destiny.
Yeah.
And not saying that that was like a big deal for me, but it was like for me, I was really worried about like just the making the right move, and I didn't want too many people involved in my move except for me. So I wanted to do like personal research. I wanted to go somewhere that I really felt like that I could be, and that was the biggest part. I took a visit down to Eastern Washington with Coach Majesty Tutson. I
Yeah.
absolutely loved her. I loved her
Yeah.
visit. It was great. When I went down there, I really did love her, but when I went down there, I realized how much that I do appreciate and do want to be at a HBCU still, and that's
Oh,
what my
really?
biggest thing was, and I feel like I I'm able to write a story for myself being where I'm at.
Oh, wow. Very good.
To so and that's something that I really had to sit back and think about, but the process is definitely difficult. You gotta getting into the portal is not very easy to answer you guys' question. I forgot about that one. Getting into it's not easy. All I had to do was go into the what is the office called? Basically like the HR, but like for like
Yeah.
football, or like for track, or like
For
basically those
athletics.
type of
Yeah.
people.
Okay.
Yeah, for athletics. So I went in there. I told him, I don't, I'm not really don't want to really be here. I'm ready to enter the portal. She was like, all right, I just need you to sign this paper for release, like basically saying that you want to enter the portal. So I signed the paper. Then they send you an email and they make you watch like the importance of each of transferring and the importance of the transfer portal and knowing what's gonna happen,
Oh,
not knowing that there's not always a possible outcome for you. So like, when you're saying stuff like that, it's like, dang man, this is a little scary. Like I'm hopping in a transfer portal where I'm leaving money to not know where if I'll have money or where i'll
yeah.
where i'll be at. It's a big process.
So like how many video, like is it one video that's like 45 minutes long, or is it like two or three videos that are like 10 or 15 minutes?
They're about like they're short. There's a couple videos, there's like five
Uh-huh.
of them, and they're all like 3 minutes, and they just cover the different things, and it has
Oh,
like
wow.
questions it's one of them scripted like where you got to answer the
I got
question
you.
like okay to make sure you're paying attention like
Yeah.
to what's actually going on. So
Yeah. It's not like talking to you like, Jalen, you're making a mistake.
yeah, yeah, nah, definitely not. It was just telling you, that you could always withdraw your name,
Oh, can
but
you?
the money, yeah, you can withdraw your name, but the money may not be. It's not promising that the money will be the same when you come back or
Oh,
just
wow.
certain things. Yeah,
So you
yeah,
really like, dude, you like really rolled the dice on yourself,
yes,
based
sir.
on your numbers, like you said, and it's like just took a leap of faith in this situation.
Right. Yeah. It really was.
Wow. So
Yeah.
so so how did the connection with Texas Southern happen? And kind of walk to us in detail of who reached out first, all that, and kind of lead us down to what's been going on and what brought you to Houston, Texas.
Yes, sir. So, I once I had entered the portal, I had reached out to Coach Ham, who's actually our Maltese coach at Texas Southern. Shout out Coach Ham, very cool dude. Where I reached out to him because I seen that they had placed second outdoor last year, and it was like, what, they're close as a team. I'm looking around what they need, and I actually seen that they had a couple decent throwers, but none that really like stood out.
Okay.
So I reached out and like their coach, like at the meets, like I'll watch how people coach, and their coach, like he's very Coach K, and that's my coach now. He's very
Yeah.
laid back, very very detail oriented, and I saw that just from the outside eye. I saw that, and I seen my grad assistant now, Fallon Perkins, throwing the hammer as a girl, and she broke the SWAC record. Like, she was very good,
Oh
very
wow.
good thrower. So she's still coaching there now as I'm there. She was a big influence for me too, because the run that she's went on as a hammer thrower in the SWAC is a very decorated run. She's a very decorated athlete, and so seeing that the hammer is something that they're prideful in, and something that they do, it was like, you know what, I like this. So I reached out to them. Took him about 2 weeks to send an offer in. The first offer he sent was pretty decent. I told him that I had other schools looking, and I was very interested in Eastern Washington, because at this time I had just took my visit to Eastern Washington, and I was like, I'm leaning towards Eastern Washington more. And then he asked like what all that they could do, and Coach Duncan's a great dude. He's real genuine. He really is about like you being you, and you never like, he loves my resilience. When I talk to him,
Yeah.
like, we just sit there, and when I tell him like certain things, like, we're just on page with each other. And it really felt like love with Coach Duncan. It really did feel like love. And it kind of felt like for a second, like, I felt like, dang, I don't want to make a parallel move, but like I said, the money was right, and it really made sense for my situation. And um, I knew that Coach K had a good plan for me. I know that Coach Duncan could really use me, and that the team would be very appreciative of what I had to offer, and they were clear about it from the jump. And it was just an exciting process with them.
So did you take an official visit before you made that final decision?
Mm.
I did not.
Had you
Oh,
ever
I
been
did
to
not.
Texas?
or to Houston?
Or to, yeah.
I've never been, but actually, I have one time before, and this is my clarification for, because I had came down to Houston for Thanksgiving with one of my teammates from Jackson,
Uh-huh.
and I fell in love with this city. I thought, dang, like, Houston is nice. Like, we're in the downtown area. I'm like, this is a time, like, it's cool. So
Yeah.
by the time like they had offered what I wanted, it was time for me to commit. Like, I was gonna go on a visit. We had originally planned for me to
Yeah.
come on a visit, but I had already committed, and it was like, I know what Houston's like. The school is gonna be the school. I mean,
Yeah.
It's gonna be
so
hot in
I
summer, and
it's
there
gonna,
you go.
it's gonna be hot again, Yeah, definitely. But when I got down there, it was the first time I got down there. I had to come like a week before everybody else. So that was kind of like in my time, like my visit. That's when he really showed me around in detail, like introduced me to like the people that I should know, and like the I talked to the athletic director, just a lot of
Oh
like
wow,
very
really?
like warm, yeah, very warming things that made me feel at home, and like
Wow.
that's the biggest thing. And that it is true that the South has some Southern hospitality, for sure,
Well,
for
that's
sure.
very impressive that you don't discuss with the athletic director, because I that's funny because I had a discussion last week with a coach that I won't be named at a D1, and his office is above the athletic director, and they worked in the same building for 2 years, and he said in 2 years he's never talked to him. So
You never talked to him.
and that's his boss, and you're like, wow.
I know you know this answer, but where in Houston is Texas Southern?
Yeah.
Like in relation to, like, I know where U of H is in several places, but where in Houston is it?
Yes, man, we're right across the street from University of Houston. Yep, we're right in the heart. We're right in the heart of Third Ward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay. So
Okay.
what's the
yeah.
population there of the university?
At the school, I'm not sure. I want to say upwards of 9,000.
Okay.
Maybe a
Okay.
little bit more. It feels like, to me, it feels, I've only been at HBCUs my whole life, so to me it feels like there's a bunch of people, because at Jackson there wasn't too many.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now with the portal, and we hadn't talked about this, as far as your grades and like what
Mhm.
you were studying at Jackson, does everything come with you to Texas Southern? And like, how did the
Credits.
degree and credits come with you? How did that work?
So basically, what I had to do was I had to transfer my official transcripts to Texas Southern, so they can
Okay.
go through all my official transcripts and make sure that all the classes that I have are aligned to their degree plan for business, because I'm a business major. So for their degree plan and major, and I transferred over with all of my credits, actually, even my
Oh,
junior college credits. So I did 2 years of, or yeah, 2 year, no, 2 semesters, I'm sorry, of junior college, for but in high school, during high school, through my high
Okay.
school, I did it.
Good for
So
you.
I had some dual enrollment classes that all transferred over. So as long as you take the classes, you pass the classes, most of them will get transferred over or something. Some may have not, but that's like the difference of like 3 credits, you know?
Oh, wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow. So you're there at Texas Southern. You know, you're in that first practice with Coach K and the grad assistant and stuff. I'm sure you were just kind of giddy with what was going on with your throwing, right? Walk us through those
Right.
first couple of days and how the training was compared to maybe what you were used to, or you weren't getting at a previous location.
Right. So at Jackson, it's a little bit different. We just threw. You threw until you got it right. Here, at Texas Southern, like we broke it down. Like he really broke the throw down for like the
Really?
first, yeah, for like the first, I want to say 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I didn't touch anything. Like I didn't touch or throw anything. We did straight feet, like footwork, weight room, drills, 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 drills. That's all we did for 3 weeks straight. And then we picked up, then we got into the ring. And we got into the ring, we didn't even start throwing disc yet, or like start throwing like hammers yet, or start throwing weights. We started by throwing like chains, or we started by throwing pipes, like stuff like
Yeah.
that was more. So to me, it was like it was less of a load on the body. I'm getting very strong in the weight room. I'm learning a new technique, because I went from just 3 hills to now a toe in 3 hills. So I'm learning new
Oh,
techniques.
wow.
Like, I'm really taking that time to sharpen those first 3 weeks. Then we start picking like small training utensils up, and then as we're throwing with those, we throw for those about another 2 3 weeks. Then we start throwing a little bit, and that's the most exciting part when you get to throw a little bit. When I first picked it up, it felt a little bit different. I definitely knew that it was a different technique because everything, didn't really feel how I used to feel, and
Yeah.
that's the toughest part to me about being a thrower is like finding that right feeling, because like sometimes it's right and you feel wrong.
Yeah.
And that
That's
was the
funny.
thing, and in that time, I started to realize that maybe just because it feels right don't mean it's right. And
Yeah.
and we really start dissecting videos. Like we became like with Coach K, it became like every other night. Hey, Coach, can you watch this video and tell me where you feel like my right could have came down quicker, or like just certain things, like am I getting over left enough? Like just certain questions I'll ask him, and he'll point out how I can do that. He'll really break it down. Like I'm not saying that Coach Country wouldn't have done that for me,
Yeah.
but it's just like I didn't necessarily feel like I didn't have that comfort, to reach out to a coach, like and ask him certain things, like I didn't feel that comfort. And that's the thing, the biggest difference with Coach K is I like since day one, like he's made me feel comfortable like in his program,
Gotcha.
and it's tough to buy into a new program, it
Yeah.
is. He
Yeah.
made it
Just for
easy.
sorry, just for clarification, it's his last. I don't know when to pronounce his first name, but it's Morales is his last name, right?
Yeah, Coach Kenwell Morales.
Kidmel Morales, and he's been at Texas Southern for a while, I believe.
Yeah, I want to say 3 years
Yeah, 3 years.
or 3 years probably. Yeah.
Yeah, and just for our listeners listening, he had a very decorated throwing career at Texas State, I believe, from the
Very.
Valley, and I think he was pretty accomplished high school thrower as well, if I'm right.
He was. I want to say that he went 18 in the shot put.
Yeah.
When he was throwing, that's to me like shot put has got like these events have got crazy nowadays. Like the numbers that we're seeing, the numbers that we're seeing being thrown now are like ridiculous. Like so many guys going over 20, to me that's ridiculous. So to go 18 back in when he was in school was a
Yeah.
very very respectable number.
Oh, for
He was
sure.
a very respectable thrower to me. So like when I go back and I look at it, we troll him all the time. I'll be like, what, coach, I'll throw further than that. Like just trolling and
Give him a
having
hard
fun with him.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, giving a hard time. But like that's what I love about it. Like I feel like as a coach, he's done a good job just buying into each of his athletes.
That's awesome. Now,
Yeah.
when y'all do y'all do boys and girls together? Like, does he
He,
coach? Okay.
Yeah, so we got two different practice sessions depending on when your class is. We'll have like a 1 p.m. and then like a 2 p.m. So basically like they're staggered so everybody's not really there at the same time, but we'll at least see each other, you know?
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So
She
here's
has a
mine.
question.
I do have a question. I don't always have questions. So you just started throwing as a senior in high school, right? Hey, track fan, and you're looking for someone to run off your meets? You need to contact North Texas Timing. That's ntxtiming.com out of Fort Worth for all your track meet needs. They'll give you the opportunity to coach your own kids and let them run the meet for you. They have decades of experience in running meets all the way from the middle school level to the IAAF athletic competitions on the international level. They partner with Finish Links and also with Mile Split, where you can see your data, see your reports, see all the things you need. They run very efficiently and will get you all set up. So look them up at ntxtiming.com. High school, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
you're kind of in year 3, really? Am I doing the math right?
Yeah, year
Okay.
3.
So my question, Joe, is you talked about doing all those drills and talking to Coach K and breaking down film. That's, I may be wrong in this, but like you wanting to understand the little technique of that is kind of a big deal that just 3 years in that you're understanding that. So are you just kind of an analytical person? Because I know we have a lot of throwers. We can break down film. We can talk to. We've interviewed a ton of people on the podcast who even say, I don't know what I do. Like we've had big time throwers who've said, I don't understand my technique. I just do what the coach tells me, and they don't study it like that, but yet they're still good. So I guess my question is, what drew you to all that when you probably never had that before, and now it where you're at and you're loving it?
I feel like it goes back to my correlation with football, you know, like studying for Friday nights every week. Like you have to
Oh,
really pick apart your opponent. And to me, like my opponent is myself when it comes to throwing. Like I really need to pick apart what I'm doing wrong, focus on my wrongs, but make my strengths better, you know. And that's the thing that I've always watched. Like, every rep I record, every rep. Now,
oh
does it stay
wow.
on my phone after a while? No, I might delete them. But like after every rep, I want to see like, okay, if I did this wrong, why did I do that wrong, and where can I make it right? You know, and that's just me. You know, like if I'm wrong, I want to be right. You know, why wouldn't you want to be right? You know, why wouldn't you want your throw to be perfect? And that's what really drives me is I want to find that perfect throw, and I want to find those perfect throws that drive me to be where I want to be.
That's
Wow.
awesome. On the other side of that, do you ever fear like you'll get stuck in analysis paralysis where you analyze it to death? Are you to that point where you feel like you're gonna? Because I always think there's a fine line. Because we talk all the time. Throwers in the old days, all these big time guys, they had to go
Just
back
throw.
and they couldn't instantly. There was no instant
Yeah.
feedback to what they needed. So, do you feel like you're there, or you're just to the point you just love watching and analyzing that?
I don't feel like I'm there. Like I'll say that, you know, sometimes I do, like, you know, I get up and I'll be like, okay, focus on this, focus on this. But like what I have gotten better with is my freshman year, it was kind of like, oh, you had to do this right, you had to do this right, you had to do that right to be the throat. Then I was just like, you know what? That's not gonna help when it comes to competition. You know, doing the right thing all the time isn't gonna make you the better thrower out there. So to me it was like snap out of it. So, you know, that was my thing is really when it's time to practice, be analytical, you know, be your biggest critic. Really dissect it. When you're at the meet, should be nothing that has to be said. I mean, like if it's not looking well the first rep, Coach K will tell me about it. Yeah, there's something this and that is off in warm ups. We'll go through it. I'll fix my first warm up though. After my warm up though, like Coach K doesn't say anything else to me about any type of technique. If it's off, we'll attack it on Monday. But if it's not, like you just got to be in competition mode. You just have to be ready to go when it's time to compete.
That is a great
Wow,
point, and that's a
that's
great
really
coaching
good.
Yeah.
cue. And even like sometimes as you're in these meet situations, the coach's initial reaction is kind of fix this, fix it to throw farther, but the athlete's is thinking about competing and not the analyzation of fixing
Right.
something. That's a really good point for sure. So I
Right.
want to go first with your big meet going back to this year in February, the indoor where you threw the weight 57-2 and you got second in the SWAC championships.
Yes,
Dude,
sir.
that's like if you look in 1 year what you did at Jackson State to what you did, that's a big jump, in
Yes,
a
sir.
pretty competitive conference.
Yes, sir.
So were you just kind of feeling your groove getting to that, and kind of walk us through that? Is it a mindset?
So basically, going into the meet, I had thrown 17-12 was my PR previous to that.
Yeah.
So I've already broke 17. I was feeling good at practice that week. I felt like I was going higher 17s. I really did have some very high 17s, close to 18 marks, and I was excited. I was amped up, and I got in there. My first two throws, I scratched. My first two
Cool.
throws I scratched, so now I'm in a bind, and I'm like, I got to get into the finals. So I just did a two turn through 16 and got into the final. I wasn't where I wanted to be in the final at first. So, like I sat back. I went over by myself, and I was like, you know what, like this is just one of those times where you either you step up or you bow down, and that's one thing I've always been good at is performing. When it's time to perform, then I just, it's just something in my head. Like I don't know what it is. It's just like I get really competitive when it's time to compete. And so, I'm down and then I throw I want to say my last throw. I went 16-8, 17-1 in the finals. And then my last throw I went 17-52. I took the lead. But right after that, he came and got me. So I was a little crushed. I was like, oh, there it was. There it
Oh,
was. And I kind of felt I was a little upset after the fact because I felt like I gave him the leeway to catch me. I don't feel
Yeah.
like I don't feel like anybody should have been in competition with me. I feel like if I would have came out and executed earlier, then it would have, it wouldn't went how I wanted it to go. It still went well, but
Yeah.
at the end of every day, it's you want a championship. You want to be champion. You want the goal, and it's cool. We had a good as a team. I did a lot, for the team. The team performed well. We won the conference meet, so that was a big,
Wow.
big, big takeaway for me. It's
You
not
got a
really about
ring.
what. Yeah, it's not really. Yeah, you got a ring. It's not really about what you do. It's about how you can contribute to the team. And that's my biggest thing. And that's my biggest joy right now is like I always tell myself like all the other things are gonna come. I've never worried about like I set aside little goals for myself every year, but the biggest goal I always have for myself is for my team to be champions
Oh wow, that's great, great.
every
Now I
year.
also want to bring up this talk a little bit about your shot put career because you went 53 with a 12, but then you're gradually getting up 47, 48 with that 16.
hmm
Are you still rotating? Where you rotated in indoor? And answer that first because I got a part two to that.
Okay,
Sorry.
yeah. So indoor, yeah, I'm still spinning. I'm learning a
Okay.
different technique. A lot of indoor, I was really just non-reversing and trying to really find my feet on the ground. So
Really?
yeah, so doing stuff like that. In the meet, I reversed. I ended up going 14-5, maybe I think.
Yeah.
yeah.
14, yeah, 14-5. And it felt like a decent meet. I honestly, I just went out there and threw. And that was the biggest thing I learned with shot put. Like is sometimes like it's gonna go, sometimes it's not. It's a 16-pound ball at the end of the day. It's
Yeah.
a 16-pound ball. It's different. You're throwing the high school one, it's easier to get away with technical difficulties. Like
Yeah.
like if you end up leaning like this way or something, the 16 like you're really gonna stay this way to the throw. But if you got a 12, you can somehow fix your posture. Like it's just
Yeah.
different.
Oh wow.
It's
You
just
Wow.
different.
cannot with the 16
You
pound
cannot.
ball.
And I'm just kind of curious, like weight wise, coming out of high school, running back, linebacker, are you about 205 then, 210?
Yeah. So when I was playing, I was my senior year. I want to say I was 205, 6 foot 205.
Okay, now what are you weighing now?
I'm like 230. 230
Oh,
now. I put on some good
oh,
muscle
wait.
since then.
So I'm
Yeah.
sure that weight room numbers have jumped up as well to handle that 16.
Yeah, pretty decently.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
That's awesome. You so it is when y'all were training that kind of offset at Texas Southern, how much are y'all in the weight room? Because I'm saying that's probably night and day to what you were doing at Jackson State.
Right. We're in there 3 days a week.
Oh, wow.
When we don't have a meet, when we do, we're in there too.
Okay.
Me personally, that's when the team goes. I do go lift on the side just because lifting is something that I enjoy doing. You know, it's a hobby for me. Like when
Good.
when I need when I need a peace of mind, or I want to get away from people, I just put my earphones on and go lift. You know, that's just something I've always been, inclined to do. You know, that's what my dad does. My dad is a strength coach, so to me, it's
Oh,
just,
wow. Okay.
it's just lifting. Like every day, I lift.
So, do y'all do much of Olympic lifting of the snatches and jerks and stuff like that?
Yeah,
And
snatches, jerks, push press, snatch pressing, all that stuff.
yeah, good, good, good.
So I'm
All
gonna
that.
ask because
She gonna steal my highlight question, but go ahead.
well, I don't know if it's a highlight question, but you're at most of your meets throwing three implements, right?
Right,
So just kind of talk about that, what that is like, and how challenging that is because you're obviously what hammers more your strength, right?
right,
So
yeah.
how do you balance that in a day in a hot meet out in Houston and all these other places where you're at, trying to throw three implements because those are long days.
Yeah, it is. I wouldn't say there's really no legit process to it on how I do it for real. It's a little complicated, but like I think of it as, they're spaced out. The events aren't right after each
Right.
other.
Yeah.
Like there's some meets where they were right after each other, but like the only part that really, could get me is when I warm up, I throw, then I have to sit down, then warm back up. That's the part that may give me a little bit, but like it definitely, it's a little tough. But I enjoy it. Like those are the things I enjoy. I enjoy being able to be that piece for the team, to be able, because I really, like, if it was up to me, like, I feel like I could put the shot put down, like I feel
Yeah.
like, like the shot put is one that I wouldn't mind putting down because I'm starting to see very good growth in my disc, very good growth in my hammer again. So it's like I told myself, I could put one down, but I just know that would be selfish of me, to
Yeah.
put that down and I can score points. That's just been my biggest thing is
Oh
just
wow.
wanting, that's what keeps me going, really, my team. Like I'm really inclined to helping the team win. That's what I love to do. Like, and on those long days, all I can think about is, what? Somebody else out there probably did 400 hurdles and got the 4x4 later.
Oh.
Like it's just
That's a really, or
right.
somebody ran the mile and then has to run the two
It has to run
mile.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Imagine.
like
And they
yeah.
ran
So
5 miles before they ran, and they ran 5 miles to cool down.
And that,
yeah,
you, and that's so cool that you like. We're big on being a thrower. We want three
right,
implement throwers, and then if you go off to college, that's kind of your decision at the point. But you have some people that want to specialize and just be a discus thrower or just be a hammer thrower, and everything's training around that. And I think for you, I think cross training, weight and hammer is helping your shot put, is
right,
helping your discus,
For
and it's
sure.
right.
helping you become a better thrower quicker, considering your throwing duration has not been that long.
Yeah, definitely. I do, and I do feel that way too. I feel like just the fact that because they all correlate in some way. Like
Yes.
the discus is almost a shot, except for the discus is out here and the shot puts right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Just so they all correlate. So it's not like they're asking me to go throw a javelin and then throw a hammer right after. Like it's
Yeah.
those are two different ones.
We are
So
Yeah.
like yeah, most and I do all the rotational throws. So to me it just makes sense that it's just, I'm a rotational thrower. That's
Yeah,
what I do.
awesome. Great point. I want to talk to you about your PR and hammer at the Twilight Fred Duckett Twilight Relays 175.5. Dude, that's huge. And for doing that for that weight for this shorter period of time, that had to mean something special to you.
No, I really did. I was excited about it. That was one of those throws where like I start to feel like, dang, like, cause I have like mid throw thoughts sometimes. Like, like when I know
Yeah.
it's going, I know it's going. So I was like, oh man, this is moving right now. So once I let it go, like, and they told me the mark, I was just, I was very happy. I feel like I know that I'm gonna hit bigger, but it's definitely a stepping stone in the right direction. You have to appreciate the little wins in life. You really do,
Well,
and it,
heck yeah.
and it definitely showed for what I have going on. Like it's definitely like it was to me. It felt like and now all this, these months of trying to figure out why I need to do this or why I need to do that, it's all starting to pay off in the bigger picture. I'm starting to see And to me, it was monumental. It helped me buy in a little bit more. I mean, I've always been bought in, but every time something happens, it just makes me love and appreciate the little things more about what I do.
Awesome. Now the other thing too is you also thrown 51.5 in the shot put.
Yes, sir.
Dude, and that's basically
That's pretty good.
almost your PR what you threw in high school.
Right.
So big dude, that's huge because a lot of people they get crushed when they pick that 16 up and stuff.
Yeah.
So and the fortitude to stay with it and stick with it is just contribute to your willingness to succeed. So big shout out to you for that as well. Do you
I
remember that
appreciate you.
51.5? Do you were like, dude, that's further than I threw in high school?
Yeah, definitely. That meet was a funny one.
Yeah.
I had just got done throwing hammer, and it was at Texas State. It was a bigger meet because it was during Texas relays. Texas relays was going on, so people were doubling up meets, having some kids go here, some there. So we got there. I'm in the B section of the hammer and the B section of the shot put. So I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to throw the shot put around the same time as the hammer. So I had just got done throwing the hammer. And at Texas State, their hammer rings for their B section are all the way off. So I'm like, coach is like, all right, after this throw, you need to run over. After you're done, you got to run over the shot put. I'm like, all right. So like I'm running, and I'm like, oh man. I'm like, by the time I got to shot put, like I was already hot, like from throwing the hammer. So by the time I got to shot put, I was just hot, like super, super hot. And then like I got in there, my first one, like I kind of just lobbed it up, and it went further than it was going in practice. I'm like, hold on, maybe this meat adrenaline kicked in or something. So then I throw. And I just remember like coach telling me you're close to a big one. He said you're
Yeah.
close to a big one. If you could somehow like just what you call it. He said if you could somehow just block like a little bit harder, like at
Yeah.
the finish and not fall away from it, you're close to one. And so I did it, boom, and there it goes. So it
Oh
definitely felt
wow.
good too, especially because I have such a love hate relationship with shot put. Like some days it's like it's funny, like some days I'll have shot putting like I'll go out to Coach K and I'll be like, man, I'm a shot putter. And then some days I'll be like, oh, I don't know, throw this today.
I'm not a shot fitter today.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Imagine that 16-pound ball has got to be a beating just
Yeah,
practicing with it.
and
Oh,
you hearing that, telling us that story about being at Texas State. I'm kind of curious because Texas Southern HBC school, and when you went to that meet, there's D1 level schools, Power Five schools there. Tell me your mindset of throwing against some of those bigger name guys, and then also too, I'm kind of curious if you kind of I'm guessing you're not of the size because you're 6'1", 6'2", 230. There's some big old ass boys out there throwing it,
Yeah.
some of these places and shit, and you're making the finals.
yeah.
Let's be
Yeah.
real. Like when you threw at U of H and you threw the 172-2, you made sixth place, and I know the people at that meet were D1 talent. So
Yeah,
what's
that
kind of that mentality of like I'm going to prove my worth?
right. When I had got there, so that meet specifically, I remember LSU was there.
Yeah,
University of Houston, actually, those are some big schools. So when I went
yeah,
there at first, like, I'm seeing the PRs, like I try to steer my way away from the heat sheet because to me, that's like a lot
yeah.
of a lot of energy that you don't need, because you're really focused on you at the
Great
end of the day.
point.
Like, and for me, I don't really gauge myself on how close I can stay to them. I feel like if I do stay close with them in proximity, then overall I know that I'm doing very well for myself because in my conference, I just remember like when I'm throwing these, I'm like I took over the first place in conference that meet. And it was like, okay, so like to me, these guys are pushing me. Like ultimately, that's the kind of level I want to compete on. Like ultimately,
Totally.
that's the kind of level I want to be on. And throwing at meets with just bigger names and bigger people is because like I feel like I'm very driven on competition. Like I've said plenty of times before, I just feel like that they drug me because I PR'd that day too. So,
Yeah.
they kind of seeing them throw far. It kind of tunes something into me to think like, all right, well, if they're going far, it's a day for you to go far. You go with them.
Oh
And that was a big thing with me. I mean, I've thrown at some meets like with a couple of good throwers. Actually, I had watched your guys' podcast with Joe Brown. I had thrown on him at our relays, and that was cool. You know,
Oh,
he
really?
awesome.
yeah, he's a very cool guy. Very, 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 very talented thrower. Like I
Yes.
remember watching him, and I don't even think he threw anything. He like super crazy towards his PR, but I want to say he threw like 57 at me, and to me, like because I was with him at that meet, Kevin Grubbs, they
Yeah.
were all throwing the discus at our meet, and I was like, oh my gosh, like they're letting this thing go. So
Yeah.
like those are the kind of things I like. I like to see like people I like to study and see people who are ahead of me because ultimately that's the level I want to be on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
That is,
Good old Joe Brown.
yeah, that's
Who's that
and it's
thrower?
funny. And I was going to get to this at the end, but you brought it up. As we're sitting here talking to you, all I'm sitting here thinking about
Me too.
is you could be Joe Brown.
Yeah.
Is
Sure.
you could be Joe Brown, dude.
I
And
can
that's the
see
thing
that,
too, is she grew up with Joe Brown. She's seen Joe Brown when he was in high school and what he's developed. There's nothing that says that you can't go out and be the next Joe Brown with the coaching and determination and that will to succeed. Is it a difficult journey? Hell yeah. But who's
Sure.
to say maybe not in 2028, but in 2032? Dude, you could be a 70-meter hammer thrower.
Sure,
So
yeah.
all shapes and sizes.
Definitely.
I
It
keep
takes.
thinking this is not the last time we've heard. I keep thinking we're gonna have Jalen Walker on in a few years when he's an Olympian.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Him and I were thinking the exact same thing.
That's
I'm
what I
like,
was
this
thinking.
year,
Yes, ma'am.
we've interviewed. I mean,
Is that your goal? Do you have long-term goals to maybe do this after college and maybe is it like the Olympics something maybe or like
Yeah.
the trials at least?
Most definitely. Like I said, year to year, I write goals for myself.
Okay.
Some of them more realistic that year than others. But like one of my goals is to compete in the Olympics. I do feel like if I buy into this a little bit longer and I get a little bit more experience, a little bit more of the seasoning, a little bit more of the stuff that I need, that I'll really, 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 be able to be good at what I do. And that's one of the things I look forward to each year. I know that there's stepping stones. I remember at the beginning of the year, before this last year, I wrote goals that I wanted to be the SWAC champion. And I told myself every day, you want to be the SWAC champion. I wrote goals that the team would win. We won. To me, it's important to write goals because, that's where I ultimately want to be. If I keep working like that and I keep surrounding myself around people who've been there and doing things like that, that lead to that, then that's where I'll be eventually.
Oh wow. Great answer, dude. Like you got your shit together, man.
Appreciate it. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're still new to this throwing
I
thing,
know
like
you
just
very do, but you
not-
got a mature mindset
Yes,
for
yes.
sure.
Appreciate that.
I do want to go back to that SWAC championship, dude, because you get first in the. Uh-oh.
He's still there. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I always have this fear that it's not recording.
Oh.
And so I
Uh-huh.
always want to look. And this new update, it is, but this new update, it doesn't have the window in the top corner saying
Oh,
recording.
okay, yeah.
So I get nervous that, the IT, like it did today, is going to shut down. And we're not going to get the recording. Anyway, go ahead. I'll cut all that.
So at the championship, you get first in the hammer, score points for your team. You get fourth in the discus, score points for your team, and I'm hoping y'all take 9 to finals, and you scored points for shot put.
Mhm.
So, like, dude, what a tremendous day. And from your track record looking, was that probably the first gold medal you ever won in
Yeah.
any throwing event? Am I right to say that?
Yep, I've been
That's what I
the
thought.
silver medal. I've been the silver medal bandit in
Yeah.
track events.
I'm gonna write that down. That is good.
That'll
Yeah.
get you a gold.
Yeah, added to the collection.
So tell us about the gold medal. What did
Yeah.
that day mean to you? Did you feel like it was yours to lose, or it was like something you had to build in warm-ups?
Yeah, most definitely. I'm very hyper confident in myself, and that's one thing that goes well for me sometimes, sometimes not. Um, I was very excited to be out there. I felt like it was mine to lose. The weather wasn't on our side at all. It was raining that day.
Okay.
So my original goal was to go out there and get the SWAC record as well as win it. So, like I was cool. My PR is very close to the SWAC record, and I felt very good. I felt ready to compete. It was raining. I was slipping a little bit, so like the earlier rounds, I was like, dang, I can't go down this rabbit hole of what happened at indoor. So,
Yeah.
I started to go back and just think like, all right, well, you're gonna have to, this is where champions are really made, and that's the thing. Like, I prayed hard on it, like during competition, even praying, like, it's a rainy day, I'm not gonna get the results that I want, but like when it's time to win, I had to win. That's what I did, like I seen that he was throwing, the dude that was in second was throwing well, and I was like, all right, well, I just turned my game face on and I started competing. It got a little rowdy, but those are the type of competitions that I like. That was fun. Definitely. Had my whole team behind me. Everybody came over to watch, which
Oh,
was,
that's awesome.
like I said, that's why I love going hard for my team, because when I was over there, worried about what I was doing, throwing and trying to win. I had majority of my team over there, the ones that weren't doing events were over there, like in that area, cheering me on, like after every big throw, like, and it felt good. And the second that I realized that I had won it, I kind of like blacked out. Like my emotions are just like, dang, like this is crazy. Like, can't believe I just won this. Like it was so cool, and it definitely like it was the first day of conference when that happened, when I got the goal. So I felt like I really, started to meet off right. Like I felt good. I feel like I put the team in good point standings to
Yeah.
continue to go on through the next day. So I really felt accomplished with that. All my hard work paid off, and there's nobody but God.
There you go.
Wow.
I love
Was
that,
your
Jalen.
was your parents there to watch you throw?
The Hammer, no, they were not. They came in on the night of Hammer.
Oh, but you showed them that
Yeah,
video. Look,
yeah, I
here you
had.
go.
Yeah, the
That's
media team
awesome.
had captured all of it, so I just sent it over to them.
Good.
Wow.
Yeah,
And, and tell me this, because like Texas Southern and just listening to you talk, y'all really seem like a really tight knit family. Is
yes,
that
sir.
something that is ingrained from the coaches? Because we don't like we went to the Pac-12 championships this year in Boulder, and there was some spirit, and they supported each
Who's
other.
with who was it?
Southern Cal,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
Yeah.
USC.
USC. I'll
But
be a runner
but it
anyway.
just seems like Texas Southern and some of those SWAC schools really live and breathe for each other. Where does that come from?
Um, I definitely say it's a culture thing, like
Okay,
us. It's just big for us, and it doesn't really come from anybody specific. When we
okay,
see each other, no matter who the teammate is, I make sure like, hey, what's up, man? At class,
okay.
we're always saying what's up to each other. Like I know, like we're just a close knit because we do a lot of things together. Like a lot of programs don't. A lot of like like
Yeah.
some throwers just sit with throwers. Me, my best friend, my roommate, he's a 400 runner. So
Oh,
it's things like that draw us closer. We're also intertwined, and like winning makes it better. Of course, like when we're winning and we're all competing at a high level, it just makes it more like respectable. Than when you come out to these meets and you see that he's going hard and that he has the same goal as you, then it just makes you feel like, dang, that we're all bought in. This is something fun. Like we're all here with similar goals, similar purposes, and that's what really brought us together.
Wow.
That and a little bit of a little bit of the feud that the SWAC thinks they have with us. Yeah,
Of course.
little
yeah,
friendly
Or
rivalries.
friendly rivalry and
Maybe not
stuff.
friendly, but
yeah, yeah,
Sure.
definitely,
Yeah, man.
definitely,
everybody needs those.
For sure.
yeah.
Dude, what an amazing. So moving forward, you're home in Arizona this summer. You're
Mhm.
training. Kind of have you wrote down your goals for next year in the fall and getting ready for 2025?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What are can you share or are you going to keep them
Yeah,
secret?
yeah. I don't mind. I could show a couple.
Okay, just two of them.
Nah,
You can keep them secret
You
if you
can
need
keep your
to.
secret.
nah.
So I
I'm just,
definitely
I'm
one
just
of them is to
playing.
break the SWAC record in the hammer, right?
Yeah, definitely. That one's gonna go back up there. I want to do it indoor too. The
Okay.
record I believe is like 18-4, around 18 something, and I know that I'm close to that. So I definitely want to win the weight indoor.
Okay.
Um, get the record in that. Win it again. The hammer outdoor. defend my title, and that's big to me. Really defending my title for that. And then in my other events, I just want to be in better standing than I was last year. I just want to continue to keep growing with them. Like Discus, I've seen a lot of growth this offseason, just this summer period.
Yeah.
I've been getting a lot stronger this summer. So like it's a lot of the positions are very like now that I know the position, now that the program is instilled in me, I know what's right, what's wrong, and it's easier for me while I'm back home to just work and so basically just sharpening me a hammer. I want to go, I want to go make a run for the regional mark.
Yeah.
Definitely, that's huge. I don't believe any HBCU thrower in the last 2-3 years has even made a regional run.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
So
Dude, you
they're
do
big.
that, we'll have you back on for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dude, that's amazing. That's
Awesome.
awesome and stuff. So, and I know you said your dad was a teacher. Does he have an athletic background? Your parents kind of pull this full circle. Are they athletes?
Yeah, my dad is an athlete. My mom did track in high school and then played basketball in high school, but my dad played football and actually went to college for football. He went to Morehead State in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, he
Awesome.
And
played
you
at
said
Morehead
your
in Kentucky.
sister, you have a
My
sister?
Yeah, my little sister runs club right now. She's younger.
Okay.
She I believe is going into she's in the 6th grade, so
Okay.
about three more years, then we'll be looking for a high school for her.
There you go.
Definitely.
That's
Definitely.
awesome, man. Dude, what amazing story, dude. Like,
So
really, you're the epitome of why we do this, but just a story of your like needs to be told of like the trials and tribulations and perseverance and not giving up, man. So
sure.
just big applaud to you. Just keep it going.
And knowing that football wasn't going to be your route and you jumped in on the throwing, even your senior year. Like sometimes there's kids like, no, I'm going football, then they think there's nothing. But there are a lot of great football players out there who would be
And
great throwers.
And also
and that
too,
That's awesome.
the taking that faith in the portal because that has to be a scary situation
Yeah.
because you're walking away from a little bit of security, like you said, financially, and it's a little unknown if you're going to make that up in different opportunities and stuff. Because I know of a couple of kids who were D1 throwers and they went in the portal and not to say that it's bad or anything like that, but they went NAIA and
right.
he's doing dual sports and you're like, okay, I get maybe you wanted to play football again, but you left a good situation at a really good D1 school, and then you're going there. So sometimes this grass is not always greener on the other side for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's a big blessing, and that's one thing, I strongly promote in my life is prayer because like those are situations that I get into. I get into situations that are, a little bit tough and I may not understand, but I've never solely depended on my understanding because I know that God has my back in every single decision I've made as a person, as an athlete. I just know that God is with me, and that's what's made my route more respectable and my route more comfortable for me.
Awesome. Awesome,
Yeah.
man.
That's
Well
so great.
said, dude.
Yeah.
Well said. You definitely got your stuff together. So you got 2 more years of eligibility?
Yes, sir. 2 more years.
Awesome, dude. Well,
Nice.
we're gonna keep tabs on you. So Texas relays, all those big meets, man. Those
Sir.
I think West Regional prelims, College Station next year, man. So
Yes, sir.
It
yeah,
is?
yeah, it's in
Oh,
College Station.
yeah.
Yeah, we might have to watch that hammer, man. Appreciate everything. Good luck to you. God bless. You gonna be watching the Olympics?
Yes, sir. I am.
Yeah, yeah.
Where's
Who-
going?
That's the reason we're wearing these shirts. We're going
We
to
have Deanna Pross hammer shirts on.
so.
That's exciting.
Yeah, we're real excited. We leave next Linden not next week, but the week after. So
So who's your discus favorite?
Discus favorite for us. I'm a big Valerie Allman fan, but I'm kind of a throwing geek, so I like to watch all the Europeans. Like
Yeah.
Van Klinken and some of those guys. I want to see Sandra from Croatia. I'm actually like watching the Chinese throwers. One of my favorite throwers is actually Gong, the glide shot putter.
Right.
Um, So I really liking her. As far as hammer goes, Deanna for sure. The Americans got a strong shot, but see some of those European throwers as well. And we're gonna try to watch all the throwing. In the men's,
Ryan, of course.
or in the shot put for the American, yeah, for sure.
Picture of Ryan on
I say,
So yeah, so
I got my bold predictions is I have Ryan Krauser winning it. If anybody beats him, it's gonna be Fabio.
yeah,
He's been having a really good season. So
mm-hmm.
I definitely got, but I don't see nobody beating Ryan ever.
No.
I just think that not anymore. Like, yeah, it would really have to be him getting injured or something. He's just on a completely different level.
Yeah.
So I got him winning that. Ethan Katzberg winning the hammer. I don't know why I'm real confident in Ethan Katzberg and then Alekna, of course. Alekna is oh my gosh, he's like a specimen. He's so fun to watch. Like, man.
He is.
There's a lot of good ones. I think Daniel Hall when he throws too is like,
yes. Yeah.
Sure.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much.
Okay,
All right,
cool. I
brother, be good.
appreciate
Thank
you guys. Yes, you guys
appreciate
be
it. Thank you.
blessed.
God bless you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
you as well. Right now.
We'd like to thank Jalen for being on. What a tremendous story. Just personal drive and just resilience. Thank you. And believing in yourself. And I just love his story. Just to be a hammer thrower and not kind of figuring that stuff out and maybe going to a place that wasn't the best fit for you. But then again, this is where the transfer portal had a positive outcome for him to put him in a better situation, and just believing in himself to have the right path and kind of God's plan to put him at Texas Southern. What tremendous young man, and shout out to those coaches, Coach K, Coach P, and everything they're doing for him has been tremendous.
I tell you, for sure, watch this guy, because this is not the last time you're gonna hear Jalen Walker's name as a thrower. He's gonna be around for a while.
Yeah.
He's gonna have a really good career.
And also too, big shout out to Texas Southern as well. We don't hear much about Texas Southern, maybe on a national or even state level, but from what it sounds, strong culture.
Yeah.
Great teammates. They have each other's back. And that's very supportive. And nowadays, when maybe track can be a little bit more individualized, it sounds like the team aspect is very important, and they got it going on down there.
And what more could you ask for in a college experience as an athlete? You don't have to be that D1 thrower. He is getting an amazing.
That's their D1.
Oh well.
Yeah, but that Power 5.
Sorry, that
Power
5 thrower. Yeah. He is getting an amazing college experience.
Yeah.
An amazing experience with amazing teammates. Great degree, I'm sure. He said he has a business degree. Growing and learning and
and not giving up being the silver medal bandit.
Silver medal. Not anymore. He got that gold medal.
He got that gold medal for sure. So.
All right. Well, we want to thank our sponsors for season 8. Right, season 8.
Yes.
Texas Track and Field Coach Association. Go to ttfca.org for all the latest and greatest. It's kind of getting to the end of track season. The Olympics will kind of be the big finale. Got AAU this coming up next few weeks, USATF. So kind of track is coming to an end for the year, but I know Stuart will have all sorts of things already posted moving into 2025. Fourthrows.com, quality implements priced right. Man, they have updated their website with a lot of really cool stuff on it. So go on there and check all that out. Use the code TX Timing. Let Carl Hornback and his crew manage all of your meets. They've got a great relationship with Mile Split. Let them do the work while you coach. Just great if you're trying to plan some meets for next year. Give those guys a call. If you're in Colleyville, use Big Frogs of Colleyville for all your printing needs. Go to Big Frog Colleyville at bigfrog.com. Message them.
Hello, Talk and Throws Texas podcasters. I'm Bruce Caldwell. I'm here today to introduce the Fiber Sport Discus. Yes, many of you thought I only made great vaulting poles. I have been bringing quality discuses to the throwers' hands for over 40 years. First as Cantabrian USA representative, then for the past 10 years as the Nelco discus distributor. I introduced the yellow-plated discus for the plastic's best durability. If your Fiber Sport discus breaks, we replace it. Our studies have reached into the science of using a wind tunnel and adding microchips to the discus to find the spin, the gravity, the flight stability of the discus. We have found it's not about rim weight anymore. It's more about creating a balanced stability to allow the discus to fly and surf the wind. Our new FiberSport discus is made to be selected to fit your needs, no matter the weather, no matter the conditions. Check out our discus selection guide at fibersportdiscus.com and find a dealer in your area that sells our fine product. Thank you, Jason and Janelle, for allowing me to talk with your listeners on Talk and Throws Texas Style.
And Lifting DFW, our mobile lifting station, any private lessons, you want to start getting some lifting in, reach out to us. Then always check out our website, The Throwing Factory. We've got a shopping page. We've got links to our YouTube. We've got our other coaches in there, 4 Throws, Fiber Sports. We've got a sports psychologist. All sorts of things that you can find on that throwing page. And after you watch the Olympics, there's some people that are going to be competing in the Olympics that we have interviewed. So
Yes.
we will
And future guests.
You will post those.
Yes, I will
people.
post.